Hey guys, welcome back to the news. In a recent development, some Igbo military veterans in diaspora wrote an open letter to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu calling for Nnamdi Kanu's release. Guys, this is serious. You see, this is coming as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gave a sound warning that nobody should beg for his release. Nnamdi Kanu before now gave a sound warning, a stern warning, warning those both in diaspora, in the country, that they should not beg for his release, that he's not a criminal. Now, the American military veterans of Igbo descent wrote an open letter to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu requesting for an immediate release of Nnamdi Kanu. The letter signed by the AVID president, Dr. Sylvester, and the secretary, Dr. Godson Obigwe, had urged the Nigerian government to comply with multiple court rulings and international directives that have declared Nnamdi Kanu's detention illegal and unjust. Now, VID's request is based on several legal rulings and international human rights decisions that have condemned Nnamdi Kanu's detention and extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria in June 2021. The letter highlighted key judicial pronouncements from the Nigerian courts and international bodies, all of which have ruled in favor of Nnamdi Kanu's release. And Nnamdi Kanu gave a warning that nobody should call or beg for his release, that he is going to fight this fight till his last breath. He's not going to beg anybody to release him because he knows that he's not a criminal. So, the group had recalled that on October 26, 2022, the Federal High Court had ruled that Nnamdi Kanu's arrests and detention were illegal. The court held that his extradition from Kenya to Nigeria was unlawful and that his continued detention in Abuja violated his fundamental human rights. The ruling condemned the Nigerian government's action. They noted that despite the ruling, Tinubu's government detained Nnamdi Kanu. The Nigerian government has continued to detain Nnamdi Kanu, a move VID describes as unconstitutional in deference of the Nigeria's judicial system. So, AVID's later further references the Supreme Court of Nigeria's decision in December 2023, which, while remanding Nnamdi Kanu's case to the Federal High Court for trial, also acknowledged the circumstances surrounding his initial detention. The group recalled that the Supreme Court condemned the government's military invasion of Nnamdi Kanu's home, which forced him to flee Nigeria. The Apex Court ruled that the government's subsequent actions seeking his arrest and his extradition under the pretense that he had jumped bail were unjust and deceptive. And this ruling acknowledged that Nnamdi Kanu's absence from the court was not voluntary, but it was necessitated by the actions of the military, making his continued detention unjustifiable. They cited the United Nations Human Rights Council Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, which issued a landmark opinion in July 2002. The UN body directed the Nigerian government that they should immediately release Nnamdi Kanu and provide him with a compensation for his unlawful extradition and detention. They noted that Nnamdi Kanu must be released because, as a member of the United Nations and a signatory to international human rights treaties, Nigeria is legally bound to comply with the UN's directive. So the Nigerian government's failure to adhere to these obligations undermines its credibility on the international stage and raises questions about its commitment to human rights and the rule of law. Beyond the legal and human rights considerations, Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention has escalated from a judicial matter to a political issue, one that requires urgent intervention by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, the president has been called upon by this group to restore Nnamdi Kanu's bail or discontinue his prosecution altogether in the interest of justice and national stability. So, this is a call to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This matter is, in Tinubu's hands, according to them. They appeal to Mr. President to see to the sense of justice and leadership. They appeal to him to uphold the rule of law by ordering Nnamdi Kanu's release. They warn that ignoring the court rulings and international directives sets a dangerous precedent for Nigeria's democracy and justice system. Now, the government actions in Nnamdi Kanu's case could erode public trust in the judiciary and damage Nigeria's international reputation. At this point, Nnamdi Kanu's case should be peacefully resolved so that it could ease tensions in the southeast region, because his continued detention has fueled unrest in the region. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been urged to take a decisive action to prevent further division and instability. This open letter serves as both a legal argument and a moral plea for justice. By citing multiple court rulings, international mandates, and Nigeria's constitutional obligation, the group makes a compelling case for Nnamdi Kanu's immediate release. Guys, this letter, Gong, underscores the urgency of the matter, and they have called to Mr. President making better put body for this matter. No be that one wey they draw leg for ground. Im gas put body for this matter, because if he no rectify this issue, this one go be pure injustice. If he no rectify this issue, nah. The debate of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's fate continues to grow. And these people's open letter to Mr. President has added to the growing pressure on Tinubu's government, on the Nigerian government, to comply with judicial and international mandates, while the world watches to see how President Tinubu would respond to these calls for justice. For how long are they going to beg Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu? For how long are they going to beg this Nigerian government, this judiciary, to release Nnamdi Kanu? Whereas kidnappers are being released. Yes. People that are into fraud and all, they are being released. Criminals are being released on a daily basis. But when it comes to Nnamdi Kanu, their hands are tied. So my country people, what are your thoughts on this? It's so sad that Nigeria has turned out to be a scam, because we claim we practice democracy, whereas we do not practice democracy. I'm dropping here. Kindly share your thoughts on this in the comments section. Thank you.